Hey everyone! Today's video is going to be an update on my Philodendron Gloriosum, and if you haven't seen the process of this plant, I think I have 2 videos up on it already, going from unboxing it to having to try and heal it because the roots came rotted. So this video is going to be 3 updates all in one. Spoiler alert, I didn't end up potting it yet because it's not ready. Initially I wanted to wait until I potted it up before releasing this video, so it would be kind of like a full recovery of the plant, but who knows how long that would take. And I've been getting a lot of questions on updates for this plant, so I thought, let's just release this now. So let me know if you like having the final update included in the video, or if you like more frequent updates and then waiting to see the final result. I've kind of been doing both recently because some plants I feel like the update is soon enough where I can just release the whole thing of an update. Like why are we waiting for this update, you know? But I would just like to hear your guys' thoughts to see if I should keep waiting to make these updates or if you want to see them like as I make them, because I literally just smashed together a bunch of updates for this video. But yeah, so we're gonna rewind back in time now to 3 months ago. It hasn't quite been a month yet since the last time I made an update on this plant. This is the one I have in sphagnum moss. Someone in the comment section mentioned that putting it in an orchid container would help the oxygen get to the plant, so it would be much better for the plants to be getting more oxygen. So I put it in here. It's like the perfect size. Everything was just perfect. It's so easy to see when the moss is dried out or anything like that. This leaf is the leaf that was unfurling. It's pretty much completely unfurled, but you can see this line of this is a darker color and the rest is lighter colored. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna ever go away. And this leaf is struggling. I have been meaning to cut this leaf off for a really long time now. Essentially from the beginning I was supposed to cut it off, but I never did it because, you know, I chickened out. And I know I should have cut it off, but I chickened out. So I want to just look at the growth coming out from in here, because I can see right here there's a little nub coming out, and when we get to the water one you'll see that's happening there too. I never looked at it from this angle though. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna pull it out, and I'm cutting off this leaf today. We're getting that done. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like looking at beneath the sphagnum moss, because I don't know, I just see this what looks like a rotting base and it makes me really nervous. I'm glad I didn't cut it off like I originally wanted though, because this is literally growing at the end that I thought looked dead. So that would have been really sad if I cut it off and missed out on this new growth. But I have to say, it's extremely worrisome to me that there is so much new growth coming out. There's no sign of any roots, so that is really scary to me. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this leaf off right now. I always wondered if it was better to cut a leaf off when you know it's gonna die, or wait until it just is easy to pull off by itself without cutting it off. And someone brought up the point that dead leaves like this can attract bugs. And so now I think it's a really good practice to cut off leaves. I think that's a really good point that I never thought of. So yep, there's what we got now. And when it is a month, then I will do another little update for you guys. I don't really think I should be ripping this off, but I know there's growth in here and I wanted to show you guys. And you can see it. A new leaf coming out right here. We're just gonna close that back up. Close back up, let it live, let it do its thing. And I'm gonna put this back into the moss. And I literally just plop this on here. I don't mind covering it because there's so much airflow here due to being in this little pot, and I'm just lightly fluffing the moss on, so there's a lot of air holes in there and everything. And then we can move this aside. It kind of looks like a little healthy plant now, right? Just imagine if it was, but it's not. It's not a healthy plant. It's still in rehab. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back where it belongs, and we're gonna take a look at the water propagating one. Here is the plant that is in water, and I remember I put it in water because this leaf was droopy, and droopy leaves usually mean that it's thirsty, and once you put it in water, the leaf will firm up again and it won't be so floppy everywhere. As you can see, that's not what happened. It's still floppy, it's losing color, it's gonna die soon. That's fine. Oh my goodness. Okay, my cat just needed a little attention. But yeah, this is my little, what it's looking like. And I'm gonna insert a picture so you can see it better, but that right there is a root. You see that new growth? And then this is a little pothos cutting that I have in here. It was rooted when I put it in. So I originally put this in my albo propagation, but I never filled the water enough to cover the node, so it never, oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. So I never filled it up enough to cover the node, so it never rooted, and it was like pointless. So I just moved it into here, and I don't really think it helped, to be honest. Like, my albo rooted so quickly without this pothos in there, so yeah. But here, let's pull this out so you can get a better look. You can definitely see the base of this plant looks a lot worse than the other one. This part looks like I should definitely cut it off, but I'm very hesitant to do that because, as you saw from the one in sphagnum moss, it was a good thing that I didn't cut it off. But yeah, you can see there's new growth here, there's a root coming off there. I have no idea how I'm supposed to cover that root in soil and just put this plant in soil in general. You can see there is a new leaf coming out here, and yet again, there are no roots growing. But this like white areas, I thought roots were gonna start growing out of there, but they didn't. Like, this root came way after those white areas formed. So I'm not sure. I'm just happy that there's one root growing. Oh, and I think there's one little root growing right here, if you can see it. So these are all really good signs, and yeah, I'm gonna put this back in the water. As you can see, it's kind of green. There's a lot of algae growing in it. If you have a clear container growing in like the sunny areas, which this is in a really sunny area, that happens. Algae comes out, and I don't like moving the plant around a lot, so I usually just refill it because the water evaporates pretty quickly. I need to refill it almost every single day. Just top it off, not completely refill it. So yep, that's there. And this is how far I have it. As you can see, it needs another topping off. I'm gonna show you how full I fill it. I am using filtered water right now, and I usually fill it to around here. I used to completely cover everything, but I don't want to be covering that new growth. So yeah, that's what's going on. We're not even 1 month in, so we're probably gonna jump to 1 month right now. We have come to a crossroads right now for the water propagation. This is, I'm gonna put down how many ever days later it is, but the water propagation needs, like, something's gotta happen here. So this is actually so exciting, but you can see here there is a whole entire baby leaf coming out from down here. It has roots and everything. Oh my gosh, this one died, but this one is still alive. So it has roots coming from here. This part is like rotted, so I'm gonna cut that off. There's a new thing coming out right here, but I'm gonna cut off this whole entire bottom part because it's rotting away, and I don't want it with my plant anymore. I don't want them to be together, so I'm just gonna cut it from here. This is thick, and I need to be careful not to cut this root. That would be, oh my gosh, awful. I think it would grow back anyways, but just, I don't want to do that. Okay, so good thing that came off in one fell swoop. I think I'll keep this in like a separate water container just in case. I know nothing's probably gonna happen, but might as well. And then this part is the reason why I wanted to start filming this, or like to change something, because like I said, this part has rooted, but when I put it in water, this leaf is going to be submerged if I want this part to root, which this is not looking that healthy right here. I don't know if you can see, but this used to look healthier, and it's because I've had to keep the water below this line, so it's like this, so that this leaf hasn't been underwater, if that makes sense. So I do want to keep this underwater though. But you know, now that I cut the bottom half off, I think it'll just fit. No, it doesn't just fit. That would have been too easy, huh? Yeah, so I'm gonna have to cut. Ugh. I'm gonna have to cut this, and this is so scary. What? This is frightening. Okay, so I guess I'll cut from here. This is so thick. Oh my gosh. I should probably use a knife. I'm gonna get a knife. So this is the knife I'm using. I don't know if this is a good knife to use. I don't know anything about knives or cooking or whatever, but I want to cut this at an angle. Like that. Okay. And so now I can have this piece in water. I'm gonna have to somehow make it float. And then this part can be fully submerged so that hopefully it will root. So I think this is a little too big now, this mason jar. I'm gonna get a smaller mason jar. Okay, so I have this one, which is much smaller, but I think this is a better size. So I can put this in here. There we go, perfect. And then this, I can somehow make stay up. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Okay, so I made it so that everything is where it needs to be, and I know it looks crazy, but this is the way it has to be. And I'm gonna have to constantly be filling it so that it's always submerged at this level, because all the nodes are underwater like how I want them to be, and all the leaves are outside of the water where I want them to be. So all that's left to do is just wait some more. I guess I'll show you how my other plant is doing though for the moment. And I'm gonna put this in a separate glass of water just in case it wants to do something other than continue rotting. I'm not expecting much, but might as well do it. So here is the sphagnum moss one, and this leaf is still looking pretty good. If you can see, not really. I'll show you in a different angle, don't worry. But this has grown a lot, and I don't want to take out the sphagnum moss right now to look to see if there's any roots. I feel like there's not though. But there was a leaf coming out of here and it died, so it's not coming out anymore, and that's why I feel like roots didn't grow out, because this is not progressing well except for that one. So maybe that little part has roots, kind of like how in the water one little section had roots. But yeah, there it is. Okay, so here we are about 3 weeks later, and we're ready to take a look at the roots of this plant. You can see the new leaf is growing in so beautifully. It's so cute. But unfortunately, this leaf has died. But we're ready to look at the sphagnum moss, or like what's under the sphagnum moss, which there is a little fungus gnat so far. I haven't looked under here since the last time we looked together, so I am very curious like how this is doing, because that new leaf is growing in so beautifully. So here it is. There are no roots like I predicted, but there's this growth point, this growth point, this growth point, and then this growth point right here. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to focus. This growth point right here. So a lot of new growth points, but just no new roots. And this leaf, I love this leaf so much because it just came out by itself. It doesn't have any roots supporting it though, which, as you are aware, makes me uncomfortable. This is rotted. This is rotted. I don't think I'm gonna cut them away because I don't really feel that it's necessary. But yeah, so this is how it's looking. This leaf is still kind of looking the same. It's whatever. It's just kind of flopping everywhere. It's not completely floppy, but it's pretty floppy. So I'm just gonna put this back in here once it came, and then we can take a look at the water propagation. All right, here we have the water propagation, which is looking so good. There was a moment when I first, after I first cut it, and I was very worried because it looked like this. It just looks so much better now. I cleaned it up when it was looking like that. It was just a bunch of dead material, just like rotting and looking mushy. But look at this leaf. But next to my hand, you can see how tiny it is. But oh my gosh, that's progress, right? Has a new leaf coming out. And I'm gonna pull this out so you guys can see. But if you remember, this root was healthy. Well, it wasn't completely healthy, but it was alive. These two roots, when I cut it, I was worried I was gonna cut them, but they rotted, but it's completely fine because 2 new roots grew in, and that is just best thing ever to see. And there's new leaves. Like, it just overall looks really good, specifically this one cutting. This one, on the other hand, it does have the 2 new roots coming in as well. But this leaf, I don't know how this leaf is doing. If it's just the outer portion of it that's kind of looking crusty, but I think it's a little too submerged, but I cannot submerge it any less because I need these roots to stay underwater. Already, I think I'm not keeping it underwater enough, but I think keeping it underwater is ruining this, and then not keeping it underwater enough is ruining the roots. So it's kind of like, I would rather have the roots growing out than, you know, have a new leaf, honestly. But this part just makes me smile. So it's kind of rough to put it back in here. I'm not gonna cut off these rotted roots because I feel like eventually they'll fall off. It's probably not the best practice to keep them in here, but sometimes you just gotta do things for your sake and the plant will be fine. So I'm gonna have to try and figure out how I had this in here before. This is kind of why I don't want to take it out, but like, come on, we got to see up close. All right, there we go. So everything is back underwater the way it needs to be. And I'm really happy that I did cut this, even though I really didn't want to. I was super hesitant about it, but it looks great now. The one thing is that I do literally need to fill this. I need to check on it every single day to make sure the water level doesn't go below these roots, because they are like right below the surface. So it often does dry up too much. So I do have to check on it every day, and at the most I can go 2 days without looking at it. Otherwise, the water level is gonna go too low, and I'm afraid the roots are gonna rot, which I do not want to happen. But I'm very happy with this. Look at this little leafy leaf. And this leaf, unfortunately, is just still on its way out. But that's absolutely fine by me as long as it's not hindering the growth process or, like, I don't know, causing too much trouble. It's fine. There we go. Those are the 2 little plantas. So that's it for today's video. We got our little plants, our little plant progress revealed. I feel like it's doing pretty well. I honestly thought that the progress would be a lot faster than it has been. Like, there is new growth, which is amazing, and I'm really happy that I cut apart the water propagation because it looks like it's thriving a lot more. At first, when I did it, it looked like it was a big mistake. I was worried about it. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? But now it's taking off with its growth, and I'm so happy about it. So I'll definitely update you guys again. Probably this time I'll wait until the potting up part, which is insane. I can't believe I'm gonna pot it up soon. I'm so excited. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know again if you prefer the entire story of the plant in one video, or if you like to see the updates come out as time goes. So yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!